Shaq looked straight into the camera and said Karl-Anthony Towns was playing soft. That one word changed the whole mood of the night. It was not said as a joke. It was not said to create drama. It was said because Shaq believes that when you are that talented, when you are that gifted, you cannot afford to float through games. And when Karl-Anthony Towns later joined the show and responded calmly, the real argument did not happen between Shaq and Towns. It happened between Shaq and Charles Barkley. Before the game against the Rockets, Shaq and Chuck were talking about Towns and what he needs to do for his team to win big. Shaq made it clear. He said that in New York, good is not good enough. If you want banners, if you want parades, if you want to be remembered, you have to be dominant. Not sometimes, not when you feel like it, every night. Then, after the game, Karl-Anthony Towns came on for a post-game interview. He had played well. He attacked the paint more. He was aggressive. Shaq gave him credit. He said that is how you should play. He praised him for responding the right way. But then Towns said something that changed the direction of the talk. Towns said if they win a championship, it does not matter who gets the credit. As long as everyone gets a ring, that is what matters. He said he does not care who they talk about. He does not care who the media praises. He just wants to win. On the surface, that sounds like the perfect answer. Team first, no ego, no drama. But Shaq was not fully satisfied. Shaq kept repeating, you got to play great. Not just good, not just solid, great. He was saying that being part of a 1-2 punch means you cannot fade into the background. You cannot let others carry the spotlight. If you are that talented, you must demand the moment. That is when Charles Barkley stepped in, and that is where the real debate began. Chuck said something simple but powerful. He said not everybody is built the same. Not everybody is Michael Jordan. Not everybody is Kobe Bryant. Not everybody is a natural-born killer. Shaq did not agree. Shaq believes mentality is everything. He believes greatness is not just skill. It is mindset. It is fire. It is the hunger to destroy your opponent. He said you have to be consistent. If you are the best player, you have to play like it every night. Chuck pushed back again. He said some players are great but nice. Some players do not have that killer personality. That does not mean they are not valuable. That does not mean they cannot win. The conversation became deeper than just Karl-Anthony Towns. It became about what makes a superstar. Shaq comes from a generation where dominance was loud. He broke rims. He bullied defenders. He demanded double teams. He wanted you to feel him. His presence was heavy. When he stepped on the court, he wanted fear in the other team's eyes. Charles Barkley was also a physical force, but he understands personality more. He knows that not everyone is wired the same way. Some players lead by example. Some lead by calm energy. Some are emotional. Some are quiet. Shaq sees Towns' talent and feels like something is missing.
He sees the size, the shooting, the handle for a big man. He sees someone who could be unstoppable. So when he says soft, he is not insulting his talent, he is challenging his mentality. Chuck looks at Towns and sees a very skilled player who is simply different. He sees someone who might not yell or stare down opponents, someone who might not talk trash, but that does not automatically mean he lacks heart. This argument is common in basketball circles. Is greatness about personality or production? Shaq gave an example during the debate. He mentioned Scott Skiles. He said Skiles had a killer mentality, even if he was not a superstar. That shows Shaq values mindset above all. Chuck responded by saying that Skiles had to have that edge just to survive in the league. Not everyone enters the NBA with the same road. Some players have to fight harder. Some players are gifted with natural skill that carries them far. Chuck also mentioned Jarrett Allen in a similar way. He said Allen is a very good player, but not a killer. That word kept coming back. Killer. What does that really mean? It means when the game is tight, when the lights are bright, when your team needs a bucket or a stop, you do not hesitate. You demand the ball. You attack. You do not shrink. Shaq believes you are either born with that or you are not. Chuck believes personality shapes how it shows up. They even joked about Vernon Maxwell. Chuck said, imagine if you put Vernon Maxwell's brain into another player. Vernon had fire. He was intense. He was emotional. But not everyone needs to be that wild to win. Kenny Smith joined the conversation too. He explained how he and Maxwell balanced each other. One was calm, one was loud. Together, they worked. That is important. Teams are not built with clones. They are built with balance. Shaq then shared a story about being in the finals and telling teammates to stop doubling him because he believed he could handle it. That confidence, that belief, is what he wants to see from Towns. He is not asking Towns to elbow people or scream. He is asking him to own the moment. The argument between Shaq and Chuck shows two different views of leadership. Shaq's view: demand greatness, show dominance, be feared. Chuck's view: skill and teamwork matter. Personality does not have to be aggressive to be effective. Karl-Anthony Towns is stuck in the middle of that debate. He has always been one of the most talented big men in the league. He can shoot from deep, he can post up, he can handle the ball, he can score in many ways. But critics often question his consistency. They question whether he can be the main guy on a championship team. Shaq's comments were not new. Analysts have said similar things before, but when Shaq says it, it carries weight. He was one of the most dominant big men ever. He knows what it takes to control a game. Towns responded respectfully. He did not argue, he did not show anger. He said he agrees with the goal of greatness, but cares about winning as a team. Some fans see that as maturity. Others see it as avoiding the challenge. That is why this debate exploded. Basketball fans love strong personalities. They love fire. They love drama. When they see someone calm in a heated discussion, they sometimes mistake calm for weakness. But calm can also be confidence. The truth is, there is more than one way to win in the NBA. Michael Jordan was fierce. Kobe Bryant was intense. They were killers in every sense. They demanded perfection. But Tim Duncan won 5 championships with a quiet personality. He did not scream or flex after every basket. He just played. Stephen Curry leads with joy and skill. He is competitive, but not aggressive in the same way as Shaq. Different styles can lead to the same result. Shaq's argument is about raising the bar. He believes Towns has another level. He believes he can dominate the paint more often instead of floating to the perimeter. Chuck's argument is about acceptance. He believes you cannot force someone to change their personality completely. In the end, both are right in different ways. A player must find his own path to greatness. He must be comfortable in his own skin, but he must also respond to challenges. Towns did respond with a strong game. That is a good sign. The real test is consistency. Can he bring that same energy every night? Can he own big moments in the playoffs? Shaq will continue to challenge him. Chuck will continue to defend personality differences. That is what makes the show great. It is real. It is honest. It is passionate. This debate was not personal. It was about standards. Shaq sets a high standard because he lived it. Chuck understands pressure because he felt it. Karl-Anthony Towns now has a chance to prove both of them right in his own way. He can show dominance while staying true to himself. He can be aggressive without becoming someone else. The argument between Shaq and Chuck will not end soon. It is part of basketball culture. But at its core, the message is simple. If you want to win big, you must rise above comfort. How you rise is up to you, and that is the real story behind their argument. Shaq kept going back to the same point again and again. He was not saying Karl-Anthony Towns is not talented. He was not saying he cannot score. He was not saying he cannot help his team win. What he was saying is simple. If you want to be great, you have to think like you are great every single night. You cannot just show it sometimes. You cannot turn it on only when someone calls you out. You have to walk on the court with that fire already inside you. Chuck tried to slow it down. He said not everyone is built the same. That is true. Some players are loud, some players are quiet. Some players smile and joke. Some players talk trash and stare you down. But Shaq's point was deeper than just personality. He was talking about mindset. He was talking about how you respond when the pressure gets heavy. He was talking about how you react when the city expects a championship. Karl-Anthony Towns answered in a calm way. He said he does not care about who gets the credit. He said the goal is to win a ring. That sounds good. That sounds team first. That sounds mature. But Shaq was not fully satisfied with that answer. To Shaq, being great and winning go together. You cannot hide behind the team if you are one of the stars. If you are part of that 1-2 punch, then you must punch hard every night. This is where the debate became more interesting. Chuck said everybody cannot be Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. Not everyone is a natural-born killer. That is true. Some players have that cold look. Some players play angry. Some players love the big moment. Others are more calm. But Shaq said something strong. He said everyone can have that mentality. Maybe you are not born with it, but you can choose how you step on the floor. Then Chuck brought up a key point. He said sometimes a player's skill takes him so far that he never had to fight in a different way. Karl-Anthony Towns has always been very skilled. He can shoot, he can handle the ball, he can score inside and outside. When you are that good, you do not always need to push and bully your way to buckets. You can just play your game. But in the playoffs, sometimes skill is not enough. Sometimes you need that edge. Shaq made it clear. He said it is about being consistent. If you are the best player on your team or one of the top two, you must show it every night.
You cannot disappear for stretches. You cannot let the game pass you by. You cannot just be nice. Nice does not win titles. Strong mindset wins titles. Chuck agreed that Towns is very good. He even called him terrific. But he kept saying the same thing in a softer way. He said Towns is just not a killer. And maybe that is okay. Not every player has that type of energy. But when you are in a big market and the fans are hungry for a title, the expectations get higher. The media gets louder. The pressure gets stronger. Then the talk about Vernon Maxwell and Kenny Smith made the point even more clear. Shaq was saying that mentality changes everything. If you mix strong skill with strong mindset, you get something special. If you have talent but no fire, you might stay very good but never become legendary. That is the real message. Kenny explained it in a smart way. He said sometimes two different personalities help each other. One player brings energy, the other brings calm. One pushes, the other controls. That balance can win championships. But still, someone has to step up when the game is on the line. Shaq shared a personal story about being doubled in the finals and how Kenny told him to stop worrying because he would hit the open shot. That is mentality. That is confidence. That is belief under pressure. That is not about being mean. It is about believing that when the moment comes, you will deliver. When Shaq told Towns, "You have to be great," he was not attacking him. He was challenging him. There's a difference. Sometimes legends see something in a player and push him because they know he can do more. It may sound harsh on TV, but deep down it can be respect. The real question is this: can Karl-Anthony Towns take that challenge and turn it into fuel? Can he look at the criticism and use it to grow? Because history shows that great players often respond when doubted. They do not complain, they do not hide, they show up stronger. In today's NBA, the game is different. Players are more friendly. They train together in the summer. They support each other online. The old school mindset was different. It was more aggressive. It was more personal. Shaq comes from that era. Chuck comes from that era. They see the game through that lens. But the league evolves. The style changes. The culture changes. That does not mean winning changes. Winning still requires toughness. Winning still requires focus. Winning still requires someone to take control when things get tight. Karl-Anthony Towns saying he does not care about credit shows maturity, but fans also want dominance. They want to see their star take over. They want to see emotion. They want to see that fire when the game is close in the fourth quarter. This argument between Shaq and Chuck was not really about one answer. It was about what makes a champion. Is it skill? Is it mindset? Is it personality? Or is it a mix of everything? The truth is, it is always a mix. You need talent, you need hard work, you need confidence, you need the right teammates, you need the right coach, and yes, you need that belief that when the game is on the line, you are the one who would decide it. Shaq believes mentality is the biggest piece. Chuck believes personality matters, and not everyone can change who they are. Both have a point, but the real answer will be seen on the court, not on a TV set. If Karl-Anthony Towns steps into big playoff games and dominates, the talk will stop. If he fades, the talk will get louder. That is how the NBA works. The court always gives the final answer, and that is why this debate was so powerful. It was not just funny. It was not just two legends arguing. It was about the heart of competition. It was about what separates very good players from all-time great players. At the end of the day, words do not win championships. Play does. And now the spotlight is even brighter. Every big game from here on out will feel like a test. Every strong performance will feel like a response. Every quiet night will bring the questions back. That is the pressure of being great. That is the pressure of being a star. And that is the challenge that was thrown on live television. Now it is up to Karl-Anthony Towns to answer it where it matters most, on the court.